Today we're going to look at chapter 3. But before we start chapter 3, let us do a quick revision of chapter 2. We looked at the different sectors of an industry. We talked about the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary sector. We spoke about the private sector, which is owned by private individuals, and the public sector, which is owned by the government or state agency. Now, all of these things, the first 3-4 chapters of this book gives you a foundation and an understanding of what business is about. And the main questions in paper 1 are based on the first 3 to 4 chapters, where the higher number of questions, and especially in paper 2, are based on the chapters towards the end. So you need to have a very good understanding of concepts in the first 2-3 chapters. So again, if you guys have any questions, you can always comment in the section below and let me know, and I'll try to help you out. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any of the videos that are coming up. So let's start with the 3rd chapter. Now, in the 3rd chapter, we will be looking at a very interesting concept. Enterprise, business growth, and size. And this chapter will basically cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main points. The first one being the importance of enterprise to a new business. The second, the key characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. The importance of a business plan to an entrepreneur. How to measure and compare sizes of businesses, and how businesses can expand internally and by merger or takeover, and why businesses remain small and why some businesses fail. This chapter is fairly quite big. So instead of rushing through it, I will actually go quite slowly so there is no concept that is missed by any of you guys. So again, if you have any questions, do let me know. So the first thing we're going to talk about is enterprise and entrepreneurship. Now, if you remember one of the 4 factors of production, the 4th factor was enterprise. Now this is why it's considered one of the factors of production, because the individual that actually conducts business, their skill is actually quite vital to make sure the business succeeds. And it is their ability, either it be their soft skills or their hard skills, but it is their skills that actually that help combine all the factors to conduct or create a successful business. So the definition over here that is given for an entrepreneur is a person who organizes, operates, and takes risks for a new business venture. So let me just read this paragraph for you to make sure that you actually understand it. What will you do when you leave school or college? Maybe go to a university or get a job. Some of you may decide to take a risk of setting up your own business. This could be full or part-time. If you decide to do this, then you will become an entrepreneur. Now, there are possible benefits and obviously disadvantages of being an entrepreneur and starting your own business. The benefit of being an entrepreneur is that you're independent. You're able to choose how to use the time and the money. You're able to put your own ideas into practice. You may be famous. You may become famous and successful if the business grows. And it may be profitable, the income might be higher than working as an employee for another business. You may be able to make personal interest and skills. Now, these are all maybes and ifs, and that is one of the major factors for an entrepreneur. When you go for a job, you actually have a fixed salary that you get at the end of the month. So you have a comfort zone that you actually live in. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're running a business, you have to say goodbye to that comfort zone. You would never know what you will make in 1 month. It might be more, it might be less, but it is a risk. And this is what makes an entrepreneur. It is their risk-taking ability, is the fact that they actually have a belief in their ideas and their work to make sure that they can make their ideas and their business successful. The disadvantages, the biggest one is risk, because many entrepreneurs, businesses fail, especially if there's poor planning. And this is one of the things we're going to talk about in this chapter, that how do you actually conduct and develop a strategy, and how do you plan, and how do you develop a business plan to make sure that your business is successful. Because any business, no matter how big or small it is, at every stage, there needs to have a business plan. There needs to have direction. As an entrepreneur leading that business, you need to understand what direction the business is taking, where it is heading, what strategies have to be implemented, and how you will manage all the possible factors that might come into effect. Capital. The entrepreneurs will have to put their own money into the business and possibly find other source of capital. Obviously, when you have ideas And if you're into manufacturing and producing products, you actually have to invest very heavily into that particular product, and you have to take a huge risk in actually understanding the product's ability to succeed or not. One of the things that I actually asks students, especially who are studying business studies, and young entrepreneurs that are getting into the business sector, either be private or public, or develop their businesses, that there's a particular program, a particular series that you should watch. It's called Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den is basically a program that has been put together by entrepreneurs, and it helps where different people come into the den and they pitch their ideas, either be a product or a service, to the dragons. Now, these dragons are successful entrepreneurs in our time, and these are people that have built empires from scratch, and they're pioneers in the industries that they are. So they actually give a very good understanding of what business is like. And as young entrepreneurs or anyone that is interested in becoming an entrepreneur, it gives them a very clear idea of what strategies and what business plan and what products and how should you pitch them and what kind of problems that they come up, so they can really refine their idea and refine their strategies in their actually personal life. So that is something I highly recommend, and do give it a watch. And the link for it, I'll put in the description over here, so you can actually go through to their channel and give some of the videos a watch. They are quite helpful. Lack of knowledge or experience in starting and operating a business. Again, as an entrepreneur, you wear different hats. So basically, you're looking at the finance, you're looking at the marketing, you're looking at the operations, you're looking at the overall strategy. So there's different areas that you'll be working in. So you need to have basic understanding of finance, you need to have a basic understanding of marketing, you need to have a basic understanding of operations. And opportunity cost, obviously you spoke about what opportunity cost is, the loss of income from being an employee, of not being an employee of another business. So obviously at the end of the month, you will not be receiving a salary because you will be owning the business, but instead you will be paying your employees and you will be paying those that you owe money to, but you will not be receiving money. The only way to earn is to make your business successful. So I think that is really fairly clear to understand what are the benefits and what are the disadvantages of being an entrepreneur. And this is a paper 1 question. So in paper 1, if they ask you to define who is an entrepreneur, entrepreneur is a person that brings all the factors, the 3 factors of productions together and takes risks in order to create a successful business. And then they'll ask you, give us 2 or 3 disadvantages, or 2, then you will give them the advantage and the disadvantage, and you will explain the advantage and disadvantage. Just stating them will not earn you the mark, because idealistically this is a 6 to 7 mark question. So there are fairly a number of understanding that you need to have in order to answer this question. Moving on. Obviously, they've given some examples over here who of entrepreneurs. Richard Branson, he's from the UK, Virgin Group of companies, which include airlines, mobile phones, and train services. Ambani in India, he has a Reliance Group of companies, which includes chemicals, IT, and retailing. Panshivi is in China. He has property. Hermain in South Africa. Mark Zuckerberg, social networking, Facebook. I think we know this person quite well. Steve from the US, obviously Apple Computers. These are very big names in our industry, in the world we live in right now. So obviously we all know them. So idealistically, they don't really ask for such examples of individuals in exams, but it's good to know, to give you an understanding of what kind of personality an entrepreneur tends to have. These are some of the pictures. Obviously, Steve Jobs not here because he passed away, and this is a fairly new edition, but obviously Steve Jobs was the founder of Apple. Obviously Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson, and Steve obviously was a partner in when Steve Jobs was actually creating Apple. Obviously, the characteristics and successful entrepreneurs, we spoke about this earlier, but let's go through some of them that like they have mentioned in the book, so you have a good understanding of what the characteristics of successful entrepreneur is. Hardworking. You're going to have long hours. Any entrepreneur that is watching this video who is not taking business studies IGCSE examination and is actually watching to understand what they're getting into, you have to really understand an entrepreneur is an individual that really has to put their soul into their business. This is everything they breathe, they sleep, they dream about the business. And there's no 9 to 5. It is a 24/7 thing. you will be thinking about your business, you will be developing your business, you will be looking at and evaluating what the market is doing, you will be positioning your business in a position where you can succeed. You will be thinking in all directions, and it's something that really takes its toll. So you really have to have very strong nerves. You need to really have a good understanding of the market that you've entered. You need to have a very good understanding of the direction, of the vision and mission of your business. The risk-taking abilities, making decisions to produce goods and services that people might buy or potentially are risky. They need to be creative. A business idea needs new ideas about products, services, way of attracting customers to make it different from other existing firms. There's a very good example, and I tend to quote this quite a lot, is of Rockefeller. And John D. Rockefeller at the time was the biggest oil empire in the United States that he created. And he said something which really, struck a chord with me. And I really mentioned this in every time I speak about entrepreneurs, is the fact that he said that bad economies create an opportunity for business. So basically, if you're in a situation that your country's economy is not doing well, that means there is a lot of opportunities, a lot of areas that need to be developed. So basically, you need to focus on a problem that the society is having, a need that needs to be fulfilled of the society, and you need to come up with a good business plan, an effective and creative business plan to fix or solve that particular problem that exists in society for those people that are living in that particular area. And if you are able to successfully execute that idea and it's been planned properly, you will definitely be successful. But it has to be creative. You have to be optimistic, which is the next thing that is mentioned as a characteristics of entrepreneur, that you have to make sure that no matter what happens, there are failures, there are walls that entrepreneur hit, and it's very difficult to overcome them. But obviously, as an entrepreneur, you need to develop yourself in such a manner that no matter what wall you hit, no matter what difficulty comes your way, that you will face it and you will obviously stand up once you fall and you will continue to move forward. And that comes from self-confidence, which is the next characteristics of an entrepreneur, that you need to have confidence on your skills. You need to have confidence on your abilities. You need to have confidence in your idea. You need to have confidence in the people that are working with you to make sure that together as a team, you will be able to be successful. Your idea needs to be innovative. You need to look at a particular problem and come up with a new way to actually solve it. And it doesn't have to be the same old methodology that it's being using, because if it was successful, you wouldn't be doing it. So you need to come up with something which is unique, which is new, and which is effective. Obviously, you need to be independent. Entrepreneurs, if you are being dragged down by problems or by other people, you won't have that motivation. And this example that they mentioned, entrepreneurs will often have to work on their own before they can afford to employ others. Entrepreneurs must be well motivated and able to be worked without any help. So you're going to be initially, when you start the business, you might not have that amount of cash to actually hire employees. You might not have, you might have friends that actually drag you down. So you really need to, focus on your business for the first couple of years, and it's something you have to put your soul and hard work into. And you have to be a very effective communicator, because initially when the things start, you are the marketing manager. You will be pitching your proposals to different investors if you need finance, if you need to raise finance. And that is one of the reasons I've mentioned that do watch Dragon's Den and watch it regularly. It will give you a very good understanding of business terminology, business ethics, business procedures and operations, and what sort of questions that you need to answer when you're proposing your idea to different investors. So I think I will stop this video over here. And if you have any questions of who an entrepreneur is, what problems they face, and if you need any more clarification on any of these topics, do drop me a message in the section below in the comment, and I'll try to give you an example to make you understand that concept better. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon. Until our next video, take care. Allah Hafiz.